y'all. Welcome back to the Clothes for Maintenance podcast. I am your host, Natasha Weston, and this is a space where we slow down, tell the truth, and let God meet us right where we are while we do the work of maintenance in real time. Yo, it is season freaking 4. Can you believe that I didn't take a long break in between? I took a month for my birthday. Because your girl is 38. Last time y'all saw me, I was 37. Okay. And I am so excited about this season because we actually have a theme. And the theme is just so aligned with where I am personally and where I believe a lot of y'all who I've been talking to behind the scenes is as well. So if you've been under a rock and not following us on social media, by the way, follow me on social media. Follow the podcast on social media so you can see all the behind the scenes, all the updates. This season's theme is maintenance check IRL in real life. And this theme actually came to me some time ago, but it's just so funny how as life happens, you're like, oh, I see why the Holy Spirit told me this. And so I'm excited for this season. I believe that last season, although I just kind of jumped off of a deep end and decided to just start back podcasting, just really as a way to hold myself accountable. And like we talked about in so many episodes, as just a way of me just getting back out there after being silent for so long. I just feel like at some point you got to just kind of stop saying, I'm going to get up, and figure out why you keep finding yourself at that place. Now, if you are an OG of CFM, then you know I am always trying to lead by example. And so I feel like there's a lot of different areas of my life where I keep talking about the problem, and I might even jump off the porch and start working towards figuring out and getting to the root of a lot of my challenges, whether it's in my finances, in my friendships, in my relationships, in my family life, in my career. But then I stop. And so I am a firm believer that if you don't get to the root of what the problems are, just like with our cars, then you'll continue to have the same challenges. And so maintenance check for me was just like a really fun idea because IRL in real life, as y'all know, I paid my car off at the end of 2025. And I'm not saying that I was like taking the best care of her before that, but I will say that since the car was paid off, I was dragging my feet a little bit with getting oil changes. If you ever see me riding around, you know I hate the car wash. And so until I can find somebody to wash my car for me on a regular, I'm probably gonna always have a dirty car for the most part. But being accountable, I know I should take better care of my car so that she does not break down on me like she has been doing. So anyway, I went on a girls trip to Phoenix last month for my 30th birthday. And when I came back, I think it's called the belly pan of the car fell down, and I was just scared to drive it that way. Now, this is not the first time that I've had this problem. 2 years ago, my mechanic fixed the exact same problem, but he told me that I needed to replace the entire belly pan because where the clamps went, it was worn out. Did I listen? No. 2 years later, same problem. And so because I couldn't find a mechanic to come out and fix it when I needed him to fix it, I ended up being carless for a week, and that was ghetto. Okay. And so I say that to say that is basically just a real life example of how when we do not get to the root of our problems, when we do not get to the root of why our relationships keep failing, of why our finances are in the same place that they were 2 years ago, why we see ourselves following the same communication patterns within our families. If we don't get to the root of these things, if we don't maintenance our relationships, if we don't make sure we stay on top of budgeting every month, or even learning how to budget or learning something new every month about finances or whatever frequency, it doesn't have to be every month, then if we don't maintenance these areas, we will keep running into the same problems. And so that's in a nutshell. Long story short, short story long. That is why I'm excited about this season. And so I'm not just going to be here preaching to y'all and telling y'all these things. I'm actually working through these things myself personally in real life. And I think that this will be a really transformative journey. And so I'm super excited. So this episode, I don't really have an outline. I just kind of want to touch on, from a high level standpoint, where I've been, what I'm working towards, and just kind of how I feel going into this new season. But I think the first thing that we need to do is to define maintenance. And so I'm looking over here because these are where my notes are. So let's look at the definition of maintenance so that we're all on the same page before we dive into this season. So maintenance is the routine work and periodic activities required to keep equipment, facilities, vehicles, or systems in good working condition. It encompasses tasks like inspections, cleaning, lubrication, and repairs to prevent breakdowns, maximize efficiency, and extend lifespan. Okay, we all on the same page? Basically, in simple terms, maintenance is basically what you're doing, if not on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis, in the different areas of your life that will help you to avoid breakdowns. Okay. And we could go on a whole episode about what breakdowns could be financially, career calling wise, friendship wise, all the things. Now, this season, I want to focus in on primarily 6 areas of life in no particular order, and in no particular order for how the episodes will drop. We have career or calling, or career and calling, depending on if you understand or where you are in your journey. We have our faith walk. We have our friendships, our family, and our finances. And what's the 6th one? Is there 6? Can I not count? Career, faith, calling, career, calling, faith, family, finances, and love. I'm sure y'all would love to hear about that, right? So anyway, we're going to get into all the things this season, but I'm super excited about that. Now, when I was praying and meditating about this season, I am trying to get in a better habit of, when I'm considering doing something or talking about something, finding out, what does God's word say about that thing? And so as I've been praying and talking and asking God, like, how do I get better with being a better steward over all of the different areas of my life? Luke chapter 16 came to mind. Got your Bible? Get your Bible. Okay. And so I want to read to you Luke chapter 16. The whole chapter 16 is really good, but verses 10 through 12 are specifically, I will say, our base scripture for this season. And it is what I try to keep in mind whenever I'm asking God for more, or whenever I'm asking him for clarity. I want to first assess what is in my hands and what am I doing with what is already in my hands. And so Luke chapter 16, verse 10, I am reading, this is the CSB Bible. Shout out to Jackie Hill Perry and Megan Ashley for this Bible. They gave it to us at Acts 242 conference a couple years ago now. And it has been literally my sidekick. So Luke 16, chapter 10, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. And whoever is unrighteous in very little is also unrighteous in much. So if you have not been faithful with worldly wealth, who will trust you with what is genuine? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to someone else, who will give you what is your own? Reality check. Okay, so I want us to keep Luke chapter 16, verse 10 through 12 in our minds as we work through maintaining the different areas of our life. So I want to start off with career and calling. And so it's funny how, 10, 15 years ago, when I really started this journey as an entrepreneur, as a content creator, I was very focused on, what is my purpose? What career path am I supposed to take? And it's funny how, as I've been walking with Christ a little more and getting to know him better, how I'm less focused on a career and more focused on what is God calling me to do with the gifts and talents that he has given me. How do I show up in the marketplace in a way that is not just lucrative or good for my bank account, but like, how do I show up in a way that aligns with Matthew 28:19 to make disciples? And so I realize now that all 15 years is now coming together, the skill set, the mindset, the experiences, the opportunities that I've not just been handed, but that I've created for myself. It's like now I'm at a place where I've been feeling like I've been running in circles. I've been doing the same thing and getting the same results. And I feel like God is calling me higher. He's calling me to be more accountable for my calling and the gifts and talents that he gives me. And so now I'm in a season where I'm not just creating content. I am now actually building systems that have allowed me, thank God. And I was just saying this on Threads last night. You know, Instagram notifies you like once a week of how many weeks you've consistently posted content. And I think I'm at like 46 weeks or something like that. Almost a year of consistently posting content. And if you follow me for some time, you know I've struggled with consistency. I'll have these months where I'm always posting, I'm always sharing, and then I'll have months where I disappear. But this year, even in my hiatuses, my content has been scheduled. You guys have consistently seen me show up. Even when I wasn't physically online, I've used systems and tools and AI to help me to be able to show up in the marketplace, to be able to show up and make sure that I am stewarding the platform God has given me for 15 years well, but also to rest and have that time to sit with him and to enjoy my family and to enjoy my friends and to take all the trips that I've been able to take this last year. Systems have had to be put in place. And in previous years, I didn't necessarily prioritize that. It was like, I'll just post in real time. I'll just post in real time. I'll just post in real time. And granted, sometimes that happens. Case in point, this episode is being recorded the day before it releases. And that's crazy for somebody who's been batch recording all year. But this just goes to show that I can afford to pop up and record the day before because all of my other content for this season is already pre-scheduled as far as it can be. And so I don't feel bogged down. I don't feel like I'm running a rat race. I don't feel like I'm behind because even though I'm recording this technically in real time, everything else is already scheduled. And so lately this year really, I've built out a content infrastructure instead of winging it. Like I know that in order for me to be obedient to God calling me to go higher in my calling and in my career, systems have to be a thing. I can't just wing it all the time anymore. I have to batch record. And so I'm really excited to talk more about stewarding and maintaining my career and putting systems in place and how that's helping me mentally and spiritually and all the things. I have an amazing guest coming up on the podcast. She is someone who I have admired and watched from afar for years. And her and I have personally connected this year. And she's coming on the podcast because she too has gone through a season of trying to figure out where she fits in the marketplace as a believer. How does she tell her story, her testimony in a way where she's not oversharing, in a way where she allows herself to process things without sharing in real time, but how she's still making an impact in the kingdom and in the marketplace in the arena of media and journalism. So y'all stay tuned for that. I will share who that guest is very soon. And so another area I want to talk about this season is my finances and saying no to shame and being a better steward over them. And so y'all know my story. Praise be to God. I work for the most amazing company I've ever worked for. On my 9 to 5, I work in the shipping industry. But for the first time in my life, this is the best company I've worked for. My benefits are amazing. I'm really happy with where I am in my 9 to 5. Obviously no paycheck is guaranteed, but it feels really good to have retirement I'm building, 401k, and have money that I can actually invest. And so this has always been something in my mind to do, but I've never actually taken the steps to build real generational wealth, to build me like a side something outside of like the creative entrepreneurial realm as far as like creating content and stuff like that. And so maintenance for me and my finances is making more practical investments, things that aren't necessarily going to empty my bank account, but things that can help me to add some extra streams of income, but in a way that works really well for me personally. And so a dream of mine has been for as long as I could think. Y'all know I have been between my parents' house, which is a blessing because I'm able to save money that I would have been kicking out on rent and all the things. And so it's a blessing that I am able to record here on my mom's couch. It's a blessing that I don't have to rent out a space. But I realized that in order for me to go higher in my calling and in my career, I need a creative space to create. And so I'm excited to share that I am working on building my own creative studio. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all for now, but I'm telling y'all so y'all can hold me accountable to finish this project. So I'm at the very beginning stages of it. But not only am I building a creative studio, this creative studio is also going to generate some income for me. And I'm going to share that with you in this season, how I am doing that. So not only am I building a space to be able to be more creative, to record on a whim, to not have to schedule when I'm going to record because the house isn't quiet and all the things, this space is also going to generate income for me, which is going to help me to add to my income so that I can sow more, so that I can do more. And so we're going to talk about finances this season and just how we can practically be better stewards. I have an amazing guest coming on, and maybe a couple of people who are also on this journey who, even though they may be experts in the field of finances, they too may have some shame behind not knowing what their bank account really looks like, maybe not even knowing how to create a budget, or maybe not knowing how to start making small investments. And I think right now with the way the economy is and the lack of jobs and all the things, I think it's very important that we get smart with using what's in our hands, rather it be with a side hustle that we may have, or our 9 to 5s, or if you are able to save, like how to use that savings and all the things. I think we can all learn more about how to use what's already in our hands. I'm a firm believer that even if you feel like you don't have a lot, you have something that you can work with. So I'm really excited to have those conversations this season. Now, let's shift gears and talk about where I've been in my walk with Christ, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. These last maybe 3-4 months, I have been in a constant tussle with the Lord because I feel like I've had to accept the fact that my walk with God in the beginning, so episode 1, that version of me with Christ is not the version of me right now. I have been struggling to read my Bible. I've been struggling to pray. I've been beating myself up and condemning myself because I don't journal and pray and get up at 5 a.m. every morning anymore. And what I'm coming to realize is that that's just the journey. The journey is always going to be a wrestle between flesh and spirit. My flesh doesn't want to get up at 5. My flesh doesn't want to read the Bible. My flesh doesn't want to pray. My flesh doesn't want to be in environments that are conducive to my walk with Christ. My flesh just doesn't want to, and it never will. And it's only in the kindness of God that he has revealed that to me lately, because I spent more time condemning myself about the fact that my spiritual practices are shifting than I did actually spending time with God. And so now my prayer is, Lord, help me to stop looking at the hour. Help me to stop looking at the practice, but help me to realize that you are everywhere all the time. And so if I'm not speaking to you at 5 a.m., I can still speak to you at 8 a.m. I can still speak to you in the car. And so we went from going to the park every morning for an hour or two to now it's different. Sometimes I don't actually sit down and read my Bible and journal till 9 at night. And I'm learning that that's okay, right? And so it's just so much that I'm learning in my walk with God. And I'm just really excited to share that with you this season as well. I feel like we're all kind of in a very weird, peculiar place in terms of like how we're walking with Christ. I know that this space even seems very oversaturated. It seems like everybody's talking about Jesus, which is great and beautiful, I think. And I know that things are shifting, but one thing that I have to be mindful of is that I don't let the enemy trick me out of my spot. And sometimes we can get so comfortable and really take advantage of God's grace, and we don't realize simultaneously that the enemy is trying to get us off track. He's trying to overload us with excuses like, you'll be forgiven. It is a trick of the enemy. So we have to be mindful that yes, there's grace, but to not take advantage of it. And I think I'm really grateful that I have that awareness and that the Holy Spirit makes me uncomfortable when I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to do. And sometimes you just simply got to push through. Sometimes when you don't feel like praying, you got to get up and do it anyway. And just tell God, like, I don't feel like praying right now. Can you help me? Give me the desire. My prayer right now is, God, like, give me that fire back that I had. Give me that fire back. And I'm just really excited. I've been reading Revelation about the 7 churches, and it's just so kind how the Lord, he points out to them what they're doing well, what he's displeased with, and then he gives them a solution to come back to him. And I think that has kind of been the rhythm that I've been experiencing. And so anyway, we're going to talk more about how our faith walk shift and how we can maintenance and be good stewards over our relationship with Christ, just as we are with anything else. So friendships. Okay, so I know the episode is getting good, but I had to pause and tell you about an upcoming event here in my area that I'm excited about, and I think you'd be excited about too. So if you're in the Charleston, South Carolina area, or if you want to drive to town, my friend Chris Kalin is hosting Main Character Mornings on July 18th, and I had to mention it on today's episode because it's exactly, and I mean exactly, the kind of thing I always talk about that I wish existed more of. And it's not a networking event. Hear me, it is not a networking event or an empowerment brunch. It's just a real space for women like you and me to connect, unwind, and just be in the genuine company and community with each other. If that sounds like something you need right now, check the show notes for the link to sign up. It's super affordable and you cannot afford to miss it. Now back to the episode. God is really doing something in my friendships because for a long time, I felt like a bad friend. I felt like I've been the friend who I'm very low maintenance, but I'm learning that just because I don't have to talk to my friends all the time to feel connected, that's not necessarily what they like and how they prefer to do friendships. And so I've shared publicly on my blog and on social media that I have reconnected with a friend that I hadn't seen in 5 freaking years, and how in our reconnecting, I've learned her friendship language and how I am learning to honor her friendship language. And I'm just learning so many things in friendships. And like just even recently, my trip to Phoenix, I had planned this trip for like 10 of us. I invited like 10 people to come on this trip. I wanted to make it super easy. So I was like, hey, I'll pay for the Airbnb. Y'all just book the flights and show up. And out of like the 10 people that I invited, only 3 people actually showed up. But when I got to Phoenix, I very quickly realized that those 3 people that were there, shout out to my bestie Regina, Rosie, and Angie for saying yes. It was divinely orchestrated that only those 3 women came on this trip, and it took our friendship and our bond to a whole nother level. And I want to share that with you even more. Well, not just about Phoenix, but I want to talk more about my friendship dynamics and how I am learning to be less selfish in friendship, to show up for my friends sometimes when I don't feel like it. Sometimes, because y'all know, like I'm the person, like I don't like the people. Okay. Peopling takes a lot out of me. Like I'm the type of person that will go to an event and I need 40 days and 40 nights to get back on my P's and Q's after socializing. And so I'm not even one. I cannot be around a lot of people all the time. It just drains me. But I am learning that friendship is about serving. And so I'm learning to serve more and serve differently and serve more selfishly in my friendships. And it was just really beautiful because each of the women that went on this trip with me are women from different points in life. So Regina is my college best friend, right? She's Tyler's godmom. So I've known Regina for like a long time, like 15 plus years I've known Regina. And then you have Anjanae, who we are not new friends. We've known each other maybe like 3-4 years now. And she's like a little sister to me who I see so much of myself in, who I've watched grow. And then we started Lost and Found Tribe together. And then we met Rosie through Lost and Found. So we've had a relationship with Rosie virtually through that community. But this was our first time meeting Rosie in person. Like when she walked in the Airbnb, we all just looked at each other and started screaming. And when I tell you those 3-4 days that we spent together felt like we had known each other forever, it was the most beautiful connection I have ever in my life experienced. And so to bring these women who I knew them all, and then they now all have their own bonds and relationships. And now we're talking about going on an annual girls trip because why not? Okay. So just building friendships of different kinds and realizing that I don't know about y'all, but I need my friends. I need them all for different reasons. And I just want to be as good of a friend to them as they are to me. And that requires constant maintenance, checking in with your friends, being selfless with your friends, saying I'm praying for you and really praying for them, saying, hey, if you need me, I'm there, and really meaning it. And also getting comfortable with having hard conversations to say, hey, I don't like when you do this, or I would appreciate if you do this more, or just showing your friends more appreciation and all the things. It's just so many different areas that we can do better in terms of stewarding our friendships. And then last but not least, I don't know how much of this I'm going to get into this season. I'm still a little leery. So anyway, I'm going to be honest with y'all because like, I can't lie. In January, I did something that I actually regret. I told y'all I was single again. And I didn't lie. I was definitely single again. And what I will say now is that I am not single, and I have not been single for a while now. And I chose intentionally to keep this part of my love life maintenance private, and I will continue to keep it private. But there's a lot that I do want to share about that and how sometimes a lot of our problem in 2026 with relationships is that they're overexposed. And just like with a camera, when something's overexposed, you can't see. And I've made the mistake of going against the grain because prior to this last relationship, I really didn't share relationships and who I was dating and when I was dating. It was just something that I kept to myself. I felt like as public as I am with my life, it was the only thing that I had to myself. And I went against that, started sharing that I was in a relationship. And when we broke up, I said, I'm single again, which y'all can see that video is hidden now because I definitely regret it. And I can say that I regret saying that publicly because that should have never even been discussed on my platform. So again, in the area of love, I am really at peace because my relationship is not public. And there's so many benefits to that. And I feel like me personally, having a private relationship is maintenance. It's maintenance because it's just me, him, and God that works for us. And we've been doing the work quietly. And I think that's the whole point. And so we're going to talk more about that later on in the season and all the things. And so, yes, I'm excited about season 4. As y'all can tell by just the snippets I just shared about, where I've been, what's going on, why I feel like now is the time for a maintenance check. I think we all have some area, if not all of these areas, that needs a little fixing. So I hope y'all ready. I'm nervous to pop open this hood publicly on some things, But I'm also looking forward to doing the work. And I'm also excited about all of the guests that are going to be rolling through this season. We're going to have more guests this season than we have ever had. And I'm really excited about it. I've already had some amazing conversations and I'm just so excited. So if you are down to do the work, I want to invite you to stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed everywhere. Make sure you get a fresh notebook for all of the things, because I don't just want us to be talking and having conversations. Our guests, me, we're going to be giving you practicality this season, so that this isn't just another podcast that you listen to, but that when you hang up, when you turn the car off, take your AirPods out, whatever, turn the TV off, you're watching on YouTube, that you have work to do that actually moves the needle in your life. And so before we wrap things up for the season premiere, let's do today's maintenance check. If your life had a maintenance light on it right now, what would it be signaling? I didn't think about this beforehand. I think if my life had a maintenance light on it right now, it would be signaling do the work, the real work. And I've already mentioned before, so I'm not going to elaborate too much. I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm tired of talking about it. I'm ready to be about it. And so I think the maintenance light for me right now is to just do it, to push myself past the place of wanting to feel comfortable all the time and realize that there's beauty in the pain of comfort. And so if I feel like I'm not stewarding my finances well one week, if I feel like maybe I overspent, to acknowledge that I overspent and figure out how to not make that mistake again. And that's just in my finances. If I feel like I am not being as consistent with showing up on social media or on the platforms that I have, then acknowledging it and then trying not to make those mistakes again. And again, I mentioned for me, those are putting systems in place, automation, using AI in that way. So just do it. That's where the maintenance light is at for me right now. And if you're listening, I want you to ask yourself that question too. Don't feel like you have to solve it today. I just want you to sit with that too. So y'all, that wraps today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are buckled up, ready for the ride, because I am. Now, I have a huge favor to ask. If you enjoyed this episode, if you are excited about this season, please, please, please share this episode with at least one friend. That could be through text message, social media, DMs, pick up the phone and call. But please share this episode with one friend. If you are not subscribed yet on wherever you listen to podcasts, go subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. Make sure you are following, turn your notifications on. We're now on Pandora. So if you are already on Pandora listening to music, you can now listen to the Clothes for Maintenance podcast there. And I also want to shout out everyone who has recently left a review. Chris Kalen, my boy Clay, and Erica. Those were the last 3 reviews on Facebook and Apple Podcasts. I don't know if y'all know how much those reviews mean, not just to me, but in the algorithm in the podcasting world. It helps us to push our conversations out to more people. And so if you have 60 seconds, go over to Apple Podcasts or Facebook, our Clothes for Maintenance page. Please leave a review. Let us know your honest thoughts about the show. All feedback is welcomed. But anyway, I'm really excited about this season. It's going to be one that moves the needle, not just in my life, but I believe in yours as well. I pray that this episode blessed you. And yeah, all of the links for anything I've talked about is in the show notes. And until the next episode, love and light. Bye-bye.